Ever wonder how like a simple swoosh could become like synonymous with athletic excellence?
Yeah.
We're talking about a logo so iconic,
Right.
it's recognizable even without the brand name attached.
Absolutely.
That's the power of a truly effective design.
It's fascinating, yeah, how a seemingly basic visual can become so deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness.
Yeah,
And it speaks to the idea that a logo isn't just a pretty picture.
right.
It's a distillation of a brand's essence,
Yeah.
a visual shorthand for its values and aspirations.
And for entrepreneurs like you, crafting that perfect logo, that's a crucial step.
Absolutely.
It's the face of your brand.
Yeah,
It's the first impression you make on a potential customers.
it is.
So we are diving into DIY logo design, the lazy entrepreneur's guide, to see if going solo on your logo design is a stroke of genius or a recipe for disaster.
What I appreciate about this guide is it doesn't shy away from the realities of DIY design.
Right.
It empowers you with the tools and knowledge, but it also acknowledges that it's not always a walk in the park.
Yeah, one thing the guide emphasizes right away is that effective logo design
Yeah.
isn't just about raw artistic talent.
Right.
It's about understanding some key principles that anyone can grasp,
Yes.
even if your last art class involved finger painting.
Absolutely. And one of the most intriguing aspects,
Yeah.
which the guide delves into, is the psychology baked into design.
Okay.
Colors, shapes, fonts, they all have a silent language that influences how we perceive a brand.
It's like they're whispering hidden messages to our subconscious. Tell me more about this color psychology.
Oh.
This is something aspiring designers might not even consider.
Think about the color red, for instance.
Okay.
It's often associated with excitement, urgency, even a hint of danger.
Right.
That's why it's used strategically by fast food chains to stimulate appetite and encourage impulse purchases.
Interesting.
But it can also signify passion and energy,
Okay.
which is why you see it in branding for sports cars and energy drinks.
So the interpretation of color can be fluid depending on the context
Yeah.
and the message the brand wants to convey. What I found really interesting in the guide
Yeah.
was how it uses McDonald's as a case study for color psychology.
Their use of golden arches is a masterful example.
Okay.
It's not just about aesthetics. It taps into something deeper. The golden hues evoke feelings of warmth, happiness,
Right.
and even childhood nostalgia,
Wow.
all carefully crafted to elicit a sense of comfort and familiarity.
It's like they're serving up a side of happy memories with every order of fries.
Exactly.
And then you have Apple, a brand that's about sleek minimalism and cutting-edge technology. Their logo, a simple apple, reflects that perfectly.
Yeah.
And that's where the guide's emphasis on simplicity and memorability really resonates.
Yeah.
Think about it. The logos, we instantly recognize the ones that stick in our minds.
Right.
They're often the most streamlined, aren't they?
Exactly. A simple, well-crafted logo cuts through the noise of our visually cluttered world.
Yeah.
It's like a shortcut straight to the heart of the brand.
Right.
Look at the evolution of Apple's logo. It's gone through subtle refinements over the years, but that core apple shape has remained constant.
It's like they fine-tuned the design while staying true to that central element that people instantly connect with. And speaking of staying true to your brand, the guide provides a really practical step-by-step process for crafting your logo.
And it all starts with a crucial step that many people skip:
Okay.
defining your brand identity before sketching a single line.
Yeah.
What are your core values? What's the personality of your brand? Playful, sophisticated, rebellious.
Right.
Until you've nailed down those fundamentals,
Yeah.
you're designing in the dark.
It's like building a house on sand without a strong foundation. The whole thing's going to collapse.
Exactly.
And on the flip side, the guide also highlights some common pitfalls to avoid. Things that can trip up even experienced designers.
One of the biggest culprits is the urge to overcomplicate.
Yeah.
We've all been tempted to cram every single product, service, and brand value into one logo.
It's like trying to write a novel on a postage stamp. You're left with a jumbled mess.
Exactly. A logo should distill your brand's essence, not bombard people with information.
Right.
And that ties into another pitfall the authors highlight: chasing trends.
Ah, yes, that irresistible urge to slap a gradient on everything because it's what's hot right now.
Right.
But as we've seen with some of these classic logos, timelessness is key.
Precisely. A strong logo should endure, not become a relic of a fleeting design trend.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is making smart color choices.
Okay.
The guide cautions against going overboard with too many colors or picking hues that clash
Right.
or don't translate well across different mediums.
Right. Your logo has to look just as good on a website as it does on a business card or a billboard.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, the guide makes a point that really resonated with me.
Okay.
It acknowledges that for some, after going through this process,
Yeah.
DIY might not feel like the right fit.
I appreciate that honesty.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that it's okay to recognize your limitations and bring in a professional if needed.
Absolutely. And even if you do decide to work with a designer, having this foundational knowledge will make you a much more informed and empowered client.
Absolutely.
You'll be able to articulate your vision more effectively and understand the reasoning behind certain design choices.
You know, it's interesting how we tend to think of logos as like these static entities.
Right.
But this guy got me thinking about like this concept of logo evolution.
Oh, okay.
What if instead of being fixed, a logo could adapt and change over time, reflecting a brand's growth and shifting landscape?
That's a really interesting idea. It's like how we might refresh our own personal style over the years.
Right.
Keeping the core elements that define us.
Exactly.
But evolving with our experiences and changing tastes.
Precisely. And there are already subtle examples of this in the wild.
Okay.
Take Apple again.
Right.
While the core apple shape has remained, they've experimented with different finishes and effects over the years.
Right.
From a polished, almost candy-like sheen to a more minimalist matte finish.
Yeah.
Those seemingly small tweaks actually reflect broader shifts in design aesthetics and even cultural trends.
It's like they're acknowledging that a brand, like a person, is not frozen in time. They grow, they adapt, and their logo becomes a visual chronicle of that journey.
Yeah.
The guide gave us that great foundation with the McDonald's example.
Right.
But seeing how a brand like Apple has subtly evolved that core imagery over time really brings this concept to life.
It's a powerful reminder that a good logo should be both memorable and adaptable.
Okay.
It needs that strong, recognizable DNA,
Right.
but it also needs the flexibility to evolve without losing its essential identity.
It makes you wonder about the possibilities.
Yeah?
Imagine a logo that subtly changes with the seasons or interacts with user-generated content.
Right.
That could be a really powerful way to keep a brand feeling fresh and relevant.
It's a fascinating area to explore. And that's what I love about diving into these guides. They not only equip you with practical knowledge, but also spark those what-if questions
Right.
that can lead to truly innovative ideas.
So there you have it, our deep dive into the world of DIY logo design guided by the Lazy Entrepreneur's Guide. Hopefully you're feeling inspired, whether you're ready to sketch out your own design or simply view logos with a newfound appreciation for the strategy behind them.
And remember, even if you decide to collaborate with a professional designer, understanding these core principles will empower you to be an active participant in the process of crafting a logo that truly represents your brand's essence.
Because at the end of the day, it's not just about creating a visually appealing design.
Right.
It's about crafting a visual ambassador for your brand, one that will resonate with your audience and stand the test of time.